how you feeling over there, Valentine?
I'm feeling good, but where do I pull up both channels here? Or
yeah, just use this guy for your mains, and then you're coming through the aux.
Ooh, we're feedbacking.
Yeah,
okay.
can we...
Turn me down a little bit. Do I have to do this myself?
He's on the board.
Okay,
no, you're
nice.
good, yep.
Okay, I'm sending out a saw wave. Don't mind these reminders popping up there. It'll say things like touch grass.
Yeah, so this just the
call
master
your
volume,
mom or
if
something.
you want to finesse the volume.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. I'm just gonna start. My name is Valentin. I go by Virtual Riot. I'm very happy to be here and super excited to be teaching the course called Advanced EDM Production or something like that. Yeah, which I just made up over the last couple of weeks, and I'm doing this for no other reason than that I want to. Because I am really excited about electronic music production, obviously, and I really enjoy talking about it, and it's very hard to shut me up, and I love teaching people, and my main goal is to just hear more great music from more people, and that way I feel like, yeah, that's the best way I can contribute to that, by just telling people how to do it. Mental health is another reason, so that I don't stay inside all day just working on my computer, staring at the laptop, but actually interacting with humans in the real world, so awesome. So it's like a win-win situation for me. So yeah, so that's why I'm doing that. Oh yeah, I was gonna go a little bit into that meta spiritual and like frequency vibe stuff as well, because I almost thought you were gonna go there, and then I thought you were gonna go there because you were so close by with the saw wave and going down in pitch. So I'm just gonna connect to that. So we have now learned that a saw wave pitched down all the way becomes a rhythm. And an interval, like a fourth or a fifth, that sounds really nice, like there's a fifth and there's a fourth, two very pure intervals, as the people in classical music say, played at a very low speed, become like a very understandable rhythm. It's like 2 against 3 and 4 against 3, like da ba da ba ba da ba. So an interval that sounds really nice is pitched down a polyrhythm that is easily understandable. And here's the coolest bit. Has anyone seen Adam Neely on YouTube? Yeah, he did that video, a couple of people did that video where so let's say you take the frequency of this sound and it's like let's say we have a sound at 440 hertz. If you go up an octave, that's 880, so you always double your frequency. Eventually, if you keep doubling your frequencies, you're in the frequency spectrum of visible light, so you can allocate a color to every note on the piano. Actually, I think the piano, like an octave on the piano doesn't even span our whole visible light spectrum, but I think, I'm just going to arbitrarily say, it doesn't really matter what it is. I think an A is orange, and an E is like blue. So an A and an E are a fifth, so that's a very pure interval, and orange and blue are complementary colors. So intervals that sound good are colors that look good together, are rhythms that sound nice together. So it's all connected. Damn. But is that going to help you while you make music? I don't know, but it's a cool fact. I just always wanted a hardware synth that has a little LED in the corner that glows in the color of the note you're playing. That'd be so cute. But I actually made a note on my phone to what I wanted to go through real quick. While I have the saw wave here, the topic of effects as sound design and not caring too much about your patch, I can just go into that real quick, because in my course we'll be talking a lot about effects, and we'll look at a bunch of plugins that are not Ableton stock plugins, and we'll do a lot of crazy shit with Ableton stock plugins. And in the music I make, which is electronic bass music, dubstep, drum and bass, rhythm, all that heavy shit, a lot of the processing is really important and is crazy. So here's an example of turning a saw wave with just Ableton stock effects into a dubstep bass. So, and you can see what's going on in here. I'm gonna open this up. It's a lot of effects. And in my course, I will explain this all, because this might take a long time right now. But yeah, and again, I've assigned macros. There's the we have randomized macros at home version is clicking this random knob up here, by the way. and then you can just record that and resample it. But yeah, no, I love randomized patches too, and I like the idea of having plugins that give you some sort of randomization options, even if it's something like melodic or something like getting a melody or an arpeggio or chords that you didn't think of yourself. Because I sometimes feel like if I write a melody that I had in my head, or an arpeggio or a chord progression, I don't get as much dopamine from the result as if a randomization sequence gave me the exact same thing. Just because I didn't come up with it, I feel like it gives me more dopamine and motivates me more to work on it, and I think it's better. It's like a weird psychological thing. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but yeah, exactly. Like if I know exactly how to make a sound in Serum, I go through the motions, I make it, it's there, and it's fine. But if I leave that task to a randomization thing, then suddenly I'm like a lot more surprised by it, even if I would be able to make it. So some cool things for that are, this just came out. I'm just going to show this because it's like relevant. Synplan 2 just came out. Who got Synplan 2? 2 people. Nice, cool. So that's good because that means the other people. Do anyone remember Synplan 1? The old one? Okay, yeah, this thing came out 17 years ago. How long? That's been around for a while, the old one. So it's really cute. It's like this little plant synthesizer where you can grow branches, and like growing the branches will like modulate your sound and morph it into like all kinds of random ways. And this was awesome back then already, but this just became so much more awesome with the power of AI. So these are your synth controls. This is like intentionally made very confusing. It's like a DNA strand, but in reality, it's just like, oh yeah, this slider on this DNA strand is actually just my filter frequency, and this is the cutoff. Like you can kind of see what is moving over here when I move it over there. So it's just a nice design. It looks very overwhelming. And then if you drag these out, yeah, sometimes this thing screams at you. You get like random changes of the sound, which is good times. That is also connected to your mod wheel, so you can play it, and it's fun. But the power of AI has just upgraded this instrument by a lot, so you can now import a sample, and it'll make a patch that sounds like the sample. It's not using the sample at all afterwards in the final result. It's just moving all these knobs to make the synth sound like the sample, and it's surprisingly good. It's pretty sick. Let's just like load in a synth sound that's like useful for this. Let's see what the hell, and what kind of folder am I in here even? So organized, yay. Let's just use a snare. No, I need like a synth node. What's in synth? These are like chords. I need like a... I guess let's just use this glass noise. So there's our sample in here, and then I can say, okay, make me a synth. And then these are 4 different variations, and I think it uses different approaches. Like it uses FM for this one, it focuses on the filter for the other one to recreate that sound. And I can like pick different results. Sometimes the first ones sound a little wonky, because sometimes they're cool. And then you can still go back into your patch here and edit that. Add like some cool reverb, more size, more chorus. Yay! So that's fun. If you use a vocal, let's put in a vocal sample, it can get very strange. And so that's where it starts to struggle, but it's interesting and it's fun. Let's go like shouts and Jesus. Let's use that. This is also AI, by the way. These are all vocal samples I made with AI. Like,
don't drum beats go like this. The thing goes like this.
This is like a voice AI trained on other samples from like old vinyls, sample collections, and then you type in words and you get samples like this. We'll get into all of that in the course, because otherwise it's going to be too much. Okay, let's just take Jesus. This might be very strange.
Jesus!
So there's a lot of modulation going on in the sample and a lot of different timbres. We could tell it to just use this bit. Just that, and then... Oh, that's kind of getting there. So yeah, you can throw in anything you want, and sometimes it'll get there, sometimes it won't, but it usually is always something very interesting. So that's an interesting thing to use randomization to get somewhere. Other plugins, even old stuff like Massive, has randomization, which is pretty fun, where you can, I'm gonna just open up good old Massive, and I hope, come on. I don't know. I swear I have it, and my native access is talking shit. I just have to, if I click activate, nothing happens, and it opens native access and it says it's activated. I don't know. So down here, we have randomize all, this little button here, and then you can say, okay, I want to randomize parameters, modulation depths, connections, or you can just modulate just the oscillators. You see if I click this, like all the knobs over there start turning, it selects different wavetables, but also it changes the pitch. So I'm just playing this note. Yes, why is it? Okay, I guess oh, this is the feedback. That's where that's coming from. That's why everything sounds the same. So that's all very dissonant and annoying. So I'm gonna make a new patch. You can say keep oscillator pitch. So now it's always gonna be that note. Obviously, sometimes all the amps are very down very far, or suddenly the feedback's all the way up, and then it jumps at you. So it is good to put a limiter after it, or maybe an OTT and then a limiter. So if it's too quiet, it gets loud. If it's too loud, it gets brought back down. But yeah, this can be fun. It doesn't automatically apply modulations, obviously, but if you open up a patch that has a lot of modulations going on, like, let's say this. I know these are all just macros, the yellow stuff, but it will exchange them and link them to LFOs. And then, that's cool, right? So I'll just hit this randomize button over and over, and every time something's cool, save the patch, and then make your own little library for, oh, once I'm like inspired to write something, okay, I got a couple of cool sounds. Or maybe I'll find a sound in here that will actually, well, be like, oh, this melody with this sound sounds kind of nice, and then that's how I'm gonna start a song. Or if I just don't feel inspired, doesn't matter, keep making some cool songs, save them. Once you have an idea for a melody, you already made some cool sounds. So I like to compartmentalize my workflow a little bit like that. Also, because I travel a lot, so I'm on airplanes, and mixing something, for example, on airplanes, on headphones is not really a thing. So I'll be like, okay, now I'll just make a bunch of kick drums and snares, or make a couple of sounds, or do this, and then once I land or I'm back home, I'm like, okay, now I can actually work and write and focus on like mixing details, and so that's kind of cool. So I encourage everyone to make your own like private little sound library, may it be presets, samples, or saving your effect racks and instrument chains for future use, just so you like build your, okay, like this is my sound kind of library, which can even be samples from the Splice, the Skynet of music production, where if it's like, okay, yeah, I always use this sample in reverse as like a fade into my drop, which apparently in dubstep is a thing with like, Barely Alive does it and I do it, where it's just like a little tag signature sample. It doesn't have to be something that you've made, it's just like how you use it in context can be part of your signature sound, I guess. Okay, now I just got this over here from earlier, because I just wanted to see if I can do anything with this. And there was like a cool sound at the end here. That's kind of cool. So I kind of like that note, so I was going to put that in a simpler and see if I can make a dubstep bass out of this and add drums super quick. So we've actually done something too. So that's cool, loop you. Give you some fades on the ends.
Can you write up the interface a little bit on your screen? So do a little of this stuff.
Oh.
Go to that look and feel tab.
Yeah.
Turn up the brightness some.
Oh, sure.
Just because the projector is when we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this isn't really, isn't doing that much.
Just the top one, the little drop down there, change it to,
Ha!
that's polar, there you go.
Mid-late, maybe mid-late. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I have it on like this dark skin because I like work in a dimly lit room, and then like it doesn't want to hurt my eyes. So I'm like, oh my god. No, good idea. I actually like how if we loop like a little bit of a sample like this, and it's not like we don't loop like a one wave cycle where we turn this into an oscillator, but it's something like this where it's like a short clip. You can kind of hear the like the loop of it. If you pitch it up, you get this, like it gets faster and slower depending on your pitch, and that gives you this kind of drum and bass Reese effect. So this is kind of cool, and what I would usually do is mess around with saturation. Obviously, either OTT or multiband compression is like the softer version of it. A cool thing that a lot of dubstep producers use to create very loud noises and loud bass noises is using a filter to first take away a lot of the sound with like a very tight bandpass, and then adding like 3 OTTs afterwards to bring it back up again. So yeah, this filter isn't perfect. There's still like, even though it says, oh, it's cutting everything off about 1K, there's still something there, and all the 3 OTTs bring it up. 3 is the magical number, by the way. After that, there's no change to the sound anymore. And interestingly, since now, like this sound doesn't have anything happening in the high end, but we can introduce something happening in the high end by putting in, maybe putting the distortion after this. And if we now do this, there should be like some weird crunch happening. Yeah. Suddenly it's getting crispy. And other plugins as well have like, there's like, how do you say it? There's like aliasing artifacts in certain plugins from built-in modulation. Like if I use something like Corpus or the frequency shifter, I think by itself, I'm gonna turn the Corpus off. I think by itself, does the frequency shifter do something if I put it on like 50%? Not yet, change the sound a bit, but let's use the modulation in here just a tiny bit. And, ooh, suddenly it's like a bit crusher has been added. So this is from the internal modulation happening in here, creating weird aliasing bit crush artifacts that the 3 OTTs bring up again. And the Corpus is a method of getting the same thing, just a little more controlled, because you can sort of change the pitch of that sound. And make you... like the speed of that modulation in here will determine the pitch of that crunch. And that's kind of how the Skrillex Scary Monsters and Nice Bright Scrawl was made. So, cool, yeah. Let's get rid of this. Actually, can I bring back that frequency shifter? Because it sounded kind of cool when it was on 50%. Again, yeah, this is just my workflow, putting random stuff on it and then just seeing what happens. Like, a lot of exploration in this is very playful, and that's what I like about sound design. Like, at times I was wondering, what would it sound like if we put like 30 choruses on just one sound? So I did it, and I have it right here. I present you the hyperchorus. So this was inspired by an Andrew Huang video where he took like 100 delays in Ableton and went through the stock effects on all of them together just to see what it would sound like. So what I have built here, and you can actually build this for any stock plugin, this first macro turns them all on, one after another, up until, I don't know, 23 choruses, and then all the other macros remote control the same parameter on each of them. So you just need these macros to control all the choruses together. And original sound is the saw wave, and then this thing. Yay, Transformers! Cool stuff. I have yet to try it with a phaser or a flanger. That could sound cool too. But yeah, anything sounds like that when you put it through. It doesn't matter what you put into this; it will always sound like this. So it's kind of an instrument itself at that point. Like even though you've only been using effects, you've made an instrument out of effects. So I think that's kind of cool. Lastly, on the topic of racks, because they're awesome, has anyone used Soothe? This like, yeah, Soothe. You know what Soothe is? Yeah. I'm just going to load up a normal bass patch so we have a sound with a little bit of motion so we can actually see what's going to happen here. Yeah. Fun. So I've made Soothe with Ableton stock. So this is like Soothe at home, basically. So this is just to show the crazy things you can do inside Ableton with the stock devices, almost using, like, just connecting different things and parameters and having things react to other things, kind of like in a modular system, which I think is really cool, and that's why I like Ableton so much, and I also like modular systems. So we have this EQ here, and as you can see, it is dynamically reacting to the volume of the incoming audio based on how loud the frequencies are in these certain areas. So it's like a dynamically reacting EQ. I can do a super quick explanation. There are all these different channels that take, like this path here, for example, takes the volume of the incoming sound around 1 kilohertz, and then there's an envelope follower. And if the envelope follower goes up, the EQ at 1K goes down accordingly. And then this power knob is basically the overall strength of all of them. Cool thing is, since it's an EQ, you can change the Q of the points, and the envelope followers all have attack and decay. So that is basically your compressor attack and release. So yay! It's not very fun for your CPU. It's like, but it works, and it's not $180 or something. I don't know how much to this, something like that. Yeah, it's cool though. I use it sometimes. I think it's great for taking like frequencies out of chords when you have a vocal singing, because you can sidechain with it. We'll do all of that in the course as well. All the things that I say, if you're like, oh, I wish I knew more about that. Yes, we will talk about that in the course. I'm just getting a little bit into everything. Oh yeah. So just making a bunch of these racks yourself as well while you work makes it easier sometimes to write a song real quick, because I don't like if I get stuck. Like I might work on a sound for a while, and then that sound inspires an idea, and then I write this intro and this build-up or something, and then suddenly it's like, oh, okay, now here's another sound that's going to require a lot of work, and suddenly this writing process is interrupted by a sound design process, and then that might take the wind out of my sails, or I just get super focused on this one thing instead of like, oh, in the last hour I've made like this much progress on this song, and now I've spent 3 hours on this one sound and haven't made anything else. So it can be really good. That's why I encourage everyone to have this like library of your own sounds, or even, Kill the Noise does this, use sample packs for certain really complicated sounds that you might want to do yourself afterwards. Oh, thank you very much.
That was me, sorry.
Nice. Ah, thanks. Oh, why did you cancel? You closed your laptop. Oh, okay. Yeah, like Kill the Noise, for example, uses dubstep packs from Splice to build the general pattern and the idea of the riff, and then goes back once that idea is there and replaces the sounds and makes them all himself. So there are many different ways of where you don't have to get stuck in a sound design process and sacrifice your writing energy for it. Yeah. So we will explore all these different ways of approaching the creative process. If anyone's read that Rick Rubin book, it's pretty good. Okay, that came out recently. I'll be quoting that a lot because I really like it. I think it's good. It's got some good things in there. Okay, where were we? Oh yeah, we made this thing. So the low end on this, let's just see. This is a little rumbly and a little chaotic, and I don't know if it's like, I might want to replace that with a pure sine wave. So in this case, we can actually just, to have it both in the same thing, I'm going to group this entire thing, that sampler with the effects, and then here I'm just going to drop in another serum. And let's see what frequency we're even at. Kind of sounds like a little too high. So I got to bring this up to that frequency real quick. All right, bring them to the same octave-ish, so I can have one MIDI playing everything together. I think +1, you're going to be fine. No, one more, so +24. And then we're just going to have a sine wave here. And oh yeah, Should probably not put that on the whole sound, but only on this. Nice. Now we got a clean sub under our sound. Many times in like cases like this, if I want a very specific modulation, ooh, that sounds cool. I might just, what note? No, we on, there we are. Oh, that's where that's coming from. Kind of sounds like the first note of Throwing Elbows. So this is another lesson, like another topic. One of the lessons will be about arrangement in drops in terms of like patterns, riffs, and also in melodies, where I like to look at either a call and response, or I kind of see it as like, it's almost like a binary pattern where you have like, okay, riff A, and then like maybe part B, and then you repeat A again, and then it's time to repeat B, but you might want to do a little variation there. So you've got like A, B, A, C, and then you go A, B, A, D. In terms of variation, so we'll look into that, or like, yeah, how to work with repetition and when to use variation, especially in genres like, I don't know, bass house, dubstep, drum and bass, and stuff. Can I get the files? I need a squelch. I need an offbeat squelch, like, right there, please. In the meantime, I will get drums.
I've heard that so
I can also recommend, this is just something I've done. I don't like how the samples you download from Splice arrive in like all these massive sample pack folders, and I don't like using the app. I by hand sorted my favorites into a new folder structure, which is a bitch, but it's great once you've done it. So if you're ever bored or you're on a flight and can't even work on music because you forgot your headphones, sort your samples. It's like tidying up your room. I know it's awful, but it can be worth a lot. Yay! Thank you. That's squelch. Oh yeah. Oh, that sounded a bit wet. Nice, let's put that in here. Sounds like dolphins, actually. Ooh. That's cool. That's the one, I think. Okay, put you on an audio track like right in here, and then I'm just gonna. Maybe we can even have these little two clicks here. So if it's like kick, have them on like the last two 16th notes or something. I think this is maybe have you here so it's a little shuffled. So it should be, and then have some pitch modulation, filter modulation here, I mean. Bing. So at this is like the point in sound design where I would want to be a little more precise and have like filter movement exactly how I want it. So I would just go in here and draw this stuff myself. Let's just take a kick and a snare real quick. Good old decap drums. Always works. My favorite closed hi-hat, Janet. Where is she? There. Janet. People been pointing it out on my songs, like, oh, he's using the Janet hi-hat again. Like, come on. Can't knock a good hat. It's just, okay. Oh yeah, another topic for another one of those, one of the lessons was going to be project templates and how to like make stuff easily accessible. Like you see here, I have it's very basic. There's drums, bass, synths, samples, and then everything runs into a sidechain audio track except for the drums. The cymbals do though. So I'm not really limiting myself here. There's a serum and a massive open, and then a sampler down here, and then under samples is just 3 empty audio tracks. The kick and snare is a drum rack that's empty. The cymbals is a drum rack that's empty. That's all. So it's like a clean slate, but I have some stuff there already. The most important bit is here actually that I have the sidechain track down here, and there's a MIDI trigger track. There's a shaper box on here. And by having my kick and snare separate from the rest of my cymbals, I was lazy. Yes, I put the head into the kick and snare, I know. I can just copy the MIDI onto my trigger track and then say, okay, everything that's on a C is going to trigger the sidechain. So now this is already sidechain applied. Great. So that speeds up the workflow a bit. And I'm just going to edit this real quick to make a little riff. Actually, yeah, something like that. And now we need some movement in there. Maybe up. I'm just gonna. Yeah. Nice, fun. We have some more room for another fill here, so I'm just going to see if there's anything else here that we can. I'm just going to pitch this up and see what happens. Not much. This was juicy. It's definitely dolphins. It actually sounds kind of cool under, just like having this top end, having this underneath the bass, maybe taking off some low end, so it adds like some crispy noise, why not? That kind of works. If you want that in an even stronger way, you can use erosion, obviously, in Ableton to add some crispy. It kind of gives the illusion of it being distorted, even though it's just adding white noise on top of the sound based on the input volume. And there are some better third-party effects as well that do the same thing. Texture by Devious Machines is awesome, where you can select all kinds of different noises. You can import your own samples, and then you see this like curve here, and then the gate at what percentage, at what volume the noise is supposed to come in. And then you can filter that noise. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. How much time do I have left? I'm just getting lost in this.
We're enjoying this.
Nice. Okay, cool. I also have this is, for example, a sample pack I've been working on. I've been just using this in the writing process, like some of the drum loops to get like an idea out really quick, but then later on replace that as well. We're at like 150 BPM, so I would take something like, what's this? I would just if I didn't want to spend time making a complex drum loop while working on this, I would just pull this in and have it do that. Fun. Yay. What else? This is already. I feel like we've already covered a lot. Let me see if I forgot anything. This is why I write stuff down, because my brain is like a pinball machine, or my brain is like a ball in a pinball machine. Oh yeah, everyone's showed like a song or something. I can show you something I've been working on recently. I got a little bit into drum and bass again because I was listening to Subfocus and K9 at Lost Lands, and that was awesome. And I was like, I want to make some drum and bass. And I use this Z vocal for this, so this is something I can also recommend to help with writing something more song-like. I feel like with EDM, if your song is not just like a DJ tool, but also like an actual song, that's always like, I enjoy that a lot more. I like the heavy DJ tools that are just like 16-bar, just drums, intro, and then whatever. Those are cool too. But I like taking vocals and then writing new chords to them, and then just deleting the vocal, and then you can even have someone else sing over it and have it be your own song. So that is fun. And there are some amazing tools by now to get vocals out of songs as well, which I don't know how copyright fine that is, but you can always just use them for vocal chops. And I think usually no one can tell, it should be fine. So just putting it out there. This is some drum and bass thing I made a couple of days ago. Let me just see if this is all set up well. We can look at the project file real quick. I just use Ozone 9 for mastering, but I think there might be something happening in here where, did I do it in this one? I usually like to, the limiter in here turns off on the drop, and then there's this gain match on, so it just boosts the output by 6 decibels, and it's like clipping at +8 or something, but it still sounds good. And you will learn how to do that too in my course. Yay. Okay, I'm just gonna play this and... No, that vocal is not supposed to be on there. I did some stuff on this.
Breathing you in when I want you out.
We're missing some delays. Oh, here are these boys.
Wearing your heart like a stolen dream. We'll run where lights won't chase us. Hide where love can't save us. I will never let you go.
That's like this
We'll run
shaper box trans gate on the reverb for this little vocal bit.
love can't save us. I will never let you go.
And we got this delay. Keeps going. All right, and that's kind of where it's at right now. But yeah, maybe it's going to be a remix. Maybe I find a new vocal or something for this. But this kind of drum and bass is pretty easy to make. I have to admit, I do, for this kind of stuff, I shamelessly use Nexus for layering. It's like the main, it's just the main serum sound, and then we've got 2 Nexuses, Nexi. And by now you can actually, like, we will also go over that, like finding plugins with good presets and effects with good presets for your, if you're more into like a songwriting vibe rather than a sound design vibe, and which plugins are kind of good for that. Nexus by now has a lot of ways of editing your sound actually, and there's also VPS Avenger, which is like Nexus on crack. But yeah, cool. I don't know how to finish this up. But I hope you learned something, and I hope you're excited for the course as much as I am, so yay!